Okay, so welcome again, everyone, to the Goddess Secrets to Elevating Your Health, Wealth, and Relationships. So good to be here with all of you. I have just returned from a life-changing trip in Egypt, and what happened there was beyond all my expectations. I had a direct mystical experience with the goddess Isis, with the god Amun, who is known as the Lord of all Lords, the Hidden One. He's like the main, one of the main Egyptian gods. And the land is alive there. The temples are alive there. And when I went to the first temple in Karnak, it was like plugging into the main line of information. Much like if you plug into the main line of like Wi-Fi. When I walked into that temple and I put my hands on the walls, everything came alive. I heard incantations, poetries, and the stories of the land and creation just unfolded for me. And so the goddess is alive. I mean, goodness gracious, she is alive, um, and she is waiting to share her secrets with you. And if we're able to open up to the goddess, much like I did in Egypt. And my journey on the goddess, which I'll share a bit with you, has been many, many years that I was able to open up that much in Egypt. Then there is so much available to us, so much help, and so much help for us to create a life that we completely fall head over heels in love with. Um, but right now, we live in a world that is cut off from this deep feminine current of information. And with that, we are missing a whole octave of experience when we're disconnected from this feminine current. Because when you study the mysteries, as I have done and continue to do, and when you go to Egypt, like I just recently did, you know that God does not exist without goddess. And our society, our culture right now really has the goddess removed. There is the feminine rising. And so what I want to do today is share some of those deep mystical goddess secrets with you, to enable you to live more with the goddess energy, which is rich. She is so giving, and that richness that she brings in your life is beyond all expectations of what the mind can perceive. And I really love this quote from The Petty Prince. If anyone's heard of that, it's a French book and it got made into a film recently. And the fox said to the Petty Prince, "Here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." And I think that's what the goddess brings is a reconnection to the essential, a reconnection to the hidden love and the hidden richness that is in life. And when we're able to tap into her current and we're able to live with her in our lives on a daily basis, then our life becomes rich beyond all of the riches of Babylon. It really is a beautiful way to live. And so that is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Put your questions in the chat box as we go along, and will do my best to answer them. And like I said at the end, I will also have a Q&A session. So for those that don't know me, I'm Kelly Morgan. I'm an activator of the divine feminine. And I didn't used to be into the goddess. I actually started out working in a private Swiss bank, a very prestigious bank, and I used to manage wealth portfolios. I help clients make decisions worth millions to build a legacy, to build trust funds for their family, for their businesses. Some of those clients were self-made. Some of them were in independently wealthy families, and I gave them a lot of financial advice and really curatorship on how to manage their wealth. And I did that for 12 years. I must say that does feel like another lifetime now, but that was my life, and I loved doing that. I loved working in wealth management. And in 2011, I moved to Ibiza, which is where I am now. And I moved to this island and I set up a wellness and retreat center. So I retrained in fitness, nutrition, many different disciplines, and I set up a wellness and fitness center. And I quickly created an amazing team. We were a multidisciplinary team. We had chiropractors, nutritionists, coaches, an amazing kickboxing champion. She'd won the World Cup a few times. Yoga teachers, spiritual healers. And so I created this team, and we quickly became one of the island's best known retreat centers. We were hosting 500 clients a year, taking them on a transformational journey. And, in that business, as an entrepreneur, my first start in an entrepreneur, I quickly learned how to be smart at partnerships, at marketing, at sales, at team management, strategy, and obviously the most important, client care. And it was in Ibiza during that time when I had that business that I had this huge spiritual awakening into the goddess, which was in 2016. And how that happened was bizarre. I had a miscarriage and I was in my late 30s by then. So I thought maybe it was my last chance to have a child. So I went and had a womb healing. And I thought it'd just be a nice healing because I was really sad. It was very painful. And what happened in that healing was I had a massive remembering of myself as a high priestess. And after that healing, I had many dreams of remembering equinoxes, star positions, lifetimes in the south of France, lifetimes with Mary Magdalene, um, lifetimes in Egypt. And it took me many years and a lot of work in order to integrate that wisdom that happened in 2016. I've done shamanic apprenticeship, womb awakening. I've obviously done coaching, healing, therapy courses in order to, well, be a practitioner as an energy healer, like a very competent one, but also to help me integrate that wisdom. Because when that was coming in, thick and fast, there were moments when it became overwhelming. And so through that, I've been able to come and share this wisdom, and I continue to grow in my wisdom of the goddess and continue to share. So I then transitioned to work more online because I realized on retreats, people were coming for a week transformation and then going back into their lives. And I wanted to help people make this lasting transformation. So that's a bit about me, and I hope that gives you some confidence that if you work with me, you're in a safe pair of hands, because not only am I a fully qualified mentor, coach, and energy healer, I've also got a solid business background where I understand fully what it means to run a big business, an entrepreneurial business. And also I have a daughter and my dog baby. So I really understand what it's like to run a business, to want to be a successful woman in life. So that is all about me. And let's get on to the juice now. And I really want to first speak to, and maybe you can just share in the chat how this is touching you, because I know that a lot of us deep down, each of us actually knows that we kind of hold within us this specialness, this preciousness within. And sometimes we might feel that early in the morning when everyone else is sleeping. Perhaps you're in bed and you're just waking up and you haven't got into the worries of the day yet. Perhaps you can hear the birds outside in the window. You can feel the warmth of the blanket. Sometimes it's in this sacred moment when you start to feel and connect your inner light. It's like a warm, fuzzy sensation that fills you from the inside out, or like a flash of light, this precious gem sparkling in the sunlight. And it's a feeling that's truly magical. So yeah, I would love to hear from you in the chat. Have you touched on that preciousness within, that specialness? Have you felt that you've been able to feel that on some level before? Because when you fully lean into that, your spirit soars and your heart skips a beat, and it becomes a flame that burns within you, radiating outwards and touching everyone that you come into contact with. And it gives you this confidence, this self-assurance, and it makes you feel like you can do anything, you can achieve anything, you can almost be anything. This inner light is the sacredness of you, the dormant, sleeping beauty, the goddess of you. And when you allow her to come into more form within you, your life unfolds like a great tapestry, a great masterpiece. And each moment becomes sacred as you feel the love and grace running through your bloodstream, this beautiful current of energy. Your life's work becomes a living legacy, a devotion of love, an outpouring of love, like your unique path, your unique desires for what change you want to bring into the world, what transformation you want to help people through. And you really are able to develop your own unique source of wisdom. I think the goddess, more than anything, helps us connect to our unique source of wisdom. And in a way, she is like the Holy Spirit, the source of creation, whereas the masculine is the bringing through of that. So it's a reconnection to your soul wisdom. And when you're able to connect to that, you're able to bring through your unique voice more, your authentic voice, your soul voice. And that creates a thriving business and an abundance in everything. When you have this kind of goddess activated, this specialness that you feel from time to time, your relationships become full of those long, deep glances, that feeling of warmth and love, that sharing of special moments, whether it's a trip of a lifetime to Bali, or swimming with dolphins with the kids, or enjoying a Parisian brunch looking at the Eiffel Tower. It does really create this kind of la vie est belle, the life is beautiful moment. And so then your whole world, your whole life becomes wealthy, because this goddess frequency is a completely different frequency of beingness and abundance, because you become full of yourself, of your inner light, of your inner power. And like a warm glow on the sun of your skin on a beautiful day, it creates a sense of expansion and growth that stretches beyond your physical body. You almost become radiant like an inner sun, stretching out through the vast oceans of time and space. And you realize that you are vastness. You are infinite. You are eternity. You are a lover of eternity. And in that you are abundance. And it's really our time now to remember this, that after this deep fall from grace that we've all experienced, it is a return of the feminine, a return then, with that return of the feminine, a return of the divine human, a return of the age of original innocence, where we're living in a blissful state of abundance and we're able to enjoy life and build a legacy for humanity and for the world. Because right now, whatever we want to experience, we're living in a different world. And so we're living in a world of imbalance and distortion. And so by bringing this goddess through, we're able to, I almost feel like we're points of light around the world, and the more of us that can anchor her in, we create this web of light around the world, and that changes everything, because we are infinitely powerful, which I'm going to be sharing with you more as we go along. So, yeah, I love what you said there about when I lean into her, everything feels easy and so alive. I love that. And, this is the invitation to lean into her more on a regular daily basis, and to lean into her and to bring her in and embody her in all aspects of life, because she brings so much richness. And so then we have these kind of glimpses of grace, if you like, this deep inner knowing of our specialness. And that can get mixed up with the ego, can't it? Because it then, or fear, like, oh, I don't want to be, I shouldn't think that I'm special, or because our ego links that to I'm better than anyone else. But it isn't about that. It's about honoring this specialness, this sacredness, this kind of divine nectar within, this deep inner knowing of our specialness. And so it comes at a glimpse. We get glimpses of it. But it is just that. It's a glimpse of eternity, a glimpse of the sacred, a glimpse of our magnificence. But then my question is, what if you could live in that state of grace for most of the time? I'm not going to say all of the time, because we are human, and sometimes it's fun to be graceless and be chaos and craziness, and it's not realistic. But to live in it for most of the time and have it anchored and embodied in each area of your life for a lot of the time. Because the goddess, she's been missing from our culture and our lives for millennia. And most of us inherently know that something is missing, that there's something not right in our world. Especially when we're children, we're full of this innocence and this love, and we just want to explore, and we want to love, and we want to share, and we want to understand. And then we start to, like, around the edges, things start to get a bit dark and shadowy. We start to see the rules and the way of being. And then we start to feel like that something's strange, something's not right about this world, but it gets overruled through our conditioning. It's like we can't quite put our finger on what is wrong, what is not right. Why aren't we in that state of innocence? And so if I can take you back in time now, back in time to a time and place where the great balance of the universe was honored, where Goddess was a big, juicy mama womb belly, and the God an ever-powerful frequency of light, like a beam of light, and God penetrating the great void of the mother. And in that, they were making love. They are making love and creating all forms of life on all realms of existence. When a civilization far, far more advanced than ours that can measure the stars, the movement of equinoxes, who knew in their heart and their soul and their culture that as above, so below. And so they honored the stars and the movement of the universe and the great womb of the Milky Way and all of the galaxies and the creation of stars. And they created that mirror image here on Earth, just like the three pyramids on the Giza plateau are the mirror of the three main stars above. They're pointing to something, as above, so below. And so then with that, they knew they had the same power as the god and goddess to create worlds within them. And so they honored that power. They knew that they were the bridge between the great above and the great below. And just to loop back round to Egypt, in the center kind of Egypt, there's a place called Luxor. Some of you may have been. And Luxor has a temple called Karnak Temple. It's the main temple complex. And it's really the heartlands of Kemet, as Egypt was known in the ancient language. And the Nile River is really seen as the reflection of the Milky Way. And the center of the Milky Way being Karnak. And so they built in Karnak this temple, a temple to honor the primordial god goddess Amun and Amunet, because they knew that they needed a female and a male deity in order to create. And as primordial goddesses, they represented the power to overcome chaos or to create order from the chaos being the feminine, the unlimited potential, unmanifest potential, and the masculine being the structurer, the organizer. And together they were worshipped as creators together, because it was known one cannot create without the two. As above, so below, just like human babies, the natural cosmic order come together when a masculine and feminine, a man and woman, make love. We are made in the same image as God, goddess, and there's always been God, goddess, not just God. And just as a reminder to talk about the masculine and the feminine principle. So the masculine principle is the force of creation, the outward force, the structure, the order, the manifest light. The feminine principle being the beautiful balance of that, the darkness, the fertile ground, the no-thingness, the soil, the darkness from where the light comes. The birthplace of creation, so instead of the force of creation, the birthplace, the beingness, the chaos, and the love and nurturance for all of creation. She holds all of creation. There's a deep love for that. And both were honored, cherished, and worshipped. And, you know, this is just ancient Egypt, but this is replicated in many other ancient cultures, such as in Sumeria. You can look at Inanna and Dumuzi. There's always god, goddess, Isis and Osiris. But we've had a fall from grace, haven't we? And a rise of a one-sided worship, that of a patriarchal God acting alone. And even if we are religious or not, our whole education structure and society is built on these principles. And so with this rise of God and forgoing the goddess, we started to only value the masculine principle, the structure, the order, the logic, the action, the plans. And because the goddess temples, the feminine was repressed, we started to degenerate the feminine, to degenerate those feminine principles, beingness, from just being lazy. The movement of the feeling, you're just being crazy. The intuitive all is, instead of the focus, you're just being whimsical. And so now we are functioning in a society that is sick from this imbalance of perception and focus. And what this creates is a number of things. And the first thing it creates is a love of action and a hatred of inaction, which is the feminine principle, the pregnant pause, the receiving. And so this creates busyness in our psyche, in our body, in our society, in the way we function on every level. And for you, this can look like juggling too many things, taking care of everything and everyone around you, constantly fixing, caretaking, and actually feeling that you never have enough time to just be. And you could also be wondering, what is all this action for, and how can I take more intentional action and not unnecessary action that leaves me exhausted? Because on another level, you know, when it comes to expanding, elevating your wealth or your relationships, a part of you doesn't think it's possible. Because if you're in this old paradigm of doing it all alone and everything alone, then you know it's not possible because you're already at maximum limit of time and energy. And so you start to think, well, it's not possible, or I need a freaking miracle. And in a way you do. The miracle is you in a different energy. The second thing this creates is a love of light and a hatred of the dark, which is the feminine principle of the darkness, the mystery, the infinite potential, the rich, fertile soil. Just going to have a drink of water one moment. And just let me know in the chat, how is this touching you? How are you feeling? Maybe you have things to add. So this creates a hatred of our perceived weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, our past, our shadow, and almost a love of the pedestal, the light, the things that are up, but a hatred of the difficulties. And so this can create a deep repression of difficult times in your life. We've all had them. It could be childhood neglect, trauma, abuse, not feeling enough, not feeling loved. We all grew up in a society which is focused on moving forward. And so that's what we do when we've had trauma. We move forward, which is great because we're moving forward, but we're often carrying huge pain bodies that block our ability to elevate to the next level. And it's almost like we can get into gaslighting ourselves when we try and pretend that it was okay and it made us a strong person. So what I'm talking about here is true shadow work with the help of the Divine Mother, the feminine, the goddess, because we need the love of the mother, the Divine Mother, to nurture us, to love us, to hold us, to caress us, to be with us, to sit with us, to look at us in the eyes and say, yes, yes. When you're honoring everything that you've experienced, instead of moving on and gaslighting and say, well, that made me a stronger person or more independent. It's that transforms. And then the third thing that it brings is a love. Oh, someone's asked a question, so I'm going to come. I can relate to what you said and realize that I'm struggling instead of striving. Yes. Well, see, this is what I'm going to be talking about this, about the mind, because the masculine is dominated by the mind and logic. And what that does is it creates a survival consciousness within us because we don't trust, we're not into beingness, we're not into receiving, we're into making it happen and moving forwards and pushing. And that creates a deep survival consciousness. It triggers our amygdala, which is our fight and flight limbic part of the brain. And it keeps us in a perpetual cycle of struggle, which is why bringing in the goddess really helps to elevate your wealth in all areas of life, because it gets you out of that struggle. But you see, it isn't doing something as we think in the masculine way, it's being something different, it's upgrading your frequency. And so then the third thing that this kind of loss of the goddess has created is a lover of plans and objectives and plans, and but a hatred of the unknown, which is this unknown, this mystery of receiving, of letting it be, of magnetism, of letting it come to you, the opposite to the outward force, the inner force of attraction. And for you, this can look like planning to the nth degree, getting really stressed when things don't go exactly to plan, using your steely mind to make things happen, but feeling super high responsibility to make sure it does. It's like do or die. And that creates very high perfectionist standards, so that you're never really happy, because you're constantly like, well, that could have been better, I could have done better, that could have been more people, more money, more this, more that. And so what it does is it cuts you off from the feminine of the unknown, of letting it be, of letting it happen, of letting it come to you. But in order to let it come to you and go in your feminine, so many people say lean into your feminine. It isn't that simple, because you have to untrain and make safety within yourself so that you can let go of the control. Because sometimes we're talking about serious things, right? If we're talking about wealth, for example, sometimes that is like paying rent and living. So it's very much in survival consciousness. And so if I come to you and say, well, lean into your feminine, let it all happen, darling, it's a bit counterintuitive. And so the change of the energy of the frequency is about creating safety within yourself so that you are able to trust and let go. And then it creates more trust and more things start to happen to you. But it's like this leap of faith that has to happen. That's why a lot of people come and work with me, because I'm able to take them through that. Now, there's a lot more things that the goddess brings, but these are the three main issues that it can create in your life. And all of these things create a cap on your ability to elevate your wealth, your relationships, your health with ease and grace. Because, as I said, you're maxed out at capacity, at controlling. And there is a richer, more juicy way, a way that embodies the feminine principle and enriches your life in so many ways. And so I want to share with you now some pearls of wisdom from the goddess to help you reignite your feminine flame and live with the goddess in your flesh, in your heart, in your body, in your life. So the first pearl of wisdom that the goddess really wants to bring through, the key, if you like, is the body. Because the feminine is embodied in the body. She's not in the mind or the thoughts or the logic or the reason, not even in the mindset. Because mindset work actually doesn't work if it goes against your body wisdom. You can't mindset your body into doing something or being okay with something. It's actually doing that is gaslighting yourself. It's like you can't fool yourself. So finding practices and experience to really go in the body and feel in the body. What feels right in the body? When are you going with your body? When is the body going towards something? When is it feeling good? When is it feeling safe? Or when are you going against the body? When is your body kind of skating backwards and pushing away? And how are you in that reaction? Are you overruling? Are you justifying? Or are you able to trust your innate body wisdom? Now, this is really important because your body has two super powerful centers. And there's one that is little known, and that is your womb. Remember, as I spoke earlier, in Egypt, in Karnak Temple, they had the Milky Way with the Nile, and the center, they built the temple. The center of the Milky Way is the womb, the universal womb, she who births stars and planets and worlds and solar systems. And we are the beautiful image of that God goddess within our bodies. And that is contained within the physical anchor place of your womb. Your womb is your center of creation. It contains an incredible amount of creative power. If you think about it, it has the power to turn an egg into a fetus, into a baby. That is a freaking miracle right there. When you study embryology and what is happening, that is a miracle. And often we are not conscious of the miracle within our body. We're not conscious of this power. And we need to be tapped into and to be a master of this power, because it can be worked with to create other things, not just human babies, but to use this creative life force within the body to bring your creations into manifestation. But first, we need to connect with the body. And then the body has within it the wisdom of the heart, which cannot be accessed when we are up in our minds. It's like we're trying to filter our reality. Actually, we do filter our reality through our brain. But there's another way that the goddess brings, and it's through the heart. And her wisdom does not come through the brain. When you are able to come into your body and feel your body and connect to your heart, your true love for yourself and what you desire to create in the world becomes realized. Not what you think you should have or what you're striving through, which is your mind in survival, but coming from the heart. What would you truly love to do? What would you truly love to experience? And this is really important because I've worked with clients in many different walks of life, some very successful businesswomen. I've had independently wealthy clients, and I had one client, she lived in a house that was worth £50 million. But she didn't enjoy it. You might think, if I have that much, or if I have that much, then I'll be happy, or that's going to bring me, that's, what I want. Might not be 50 million, could be 1 million or 10 million, whatever. But she was not happy with that. That wasn't fulfilling her true heart, soul desires. Actually, it created a lot of fear. So helping yourself connect to what your deep desires are and clearing out the fears in the body is really important. Otherwise, whatever you achieve or receive, you won't be able to enjoy it. So I want to bring you now kind of 3 pillars of questions that you can bring into yourself around the body. So the first thing around wealth is, am I connected to the abundance within my body? Am I connected to the abundance within my body? Or am I running on lack and scarcity? Because true wealth consciousness, when accessed through the body, becomes an embodied experience. You feel wealthy from within, and as within, so without. It becomes easier to hold wealth. Because women, this is a bit of a segue now, but I'm going to bring it in because it's there. Women used to be the holders of wealth. Okay, when we look at some of the ancient scriptures, for example, if you look at the Bible, Mary Magdalene came into the house of Simon, and she had a jar of very expensive perfume. That's how it said in the Bible, a jar of spikenard oil, enough to feed the town for a year, and she poured that oil over the feet of Jesus. This is a very sacred symbol that he was surrounded by a group of very wealthy women. And so women, we used to be the holders of wealth. And so what you're able to hold in your body, let's think of it as a sacred container, is a reflection of how much physical wealth, money, cash, gold, you're able to hold. So you let me know as I'm going through these questions how they're hitting you, and obviously you can feel more into them. Then the second point is, do I feel empty or do I feel full? Within your body, do I feel empty or do I feel full? And then into your relationships. Does your relationship make your body feel good? Do you feel good in your body in this relationship? And then a kind of follow-on question is my energy going out of my body, leaking out of my body into this relationship, or am I being nourished? Am I receiving? Am I being honored and cherished for who I am in my body? These are some really important questions to ask yourself. Then in regard to health, am I connected to my body? Am I honoring what my body needs? And then asking yourself, where do I hold tension, uneasiness, dis-ease within my body, and where do I hold it? And perhaps how can I start to transform and alchemize some of those tensions and uneasiness? Because the body holds so much. Helping my clients go deeper into their body so that they can be this safe container for themselves, for this goddess energy, this sacred light, this specialness I've been talking about, but also then as a container of wealth, a container of sacred relationship, a container of the legacy for her business. This is the work within the body. And so many of us are not fully in our bodies for two reasons. One, we've experienced trauma within the body, so we inherently don't feel safe. And that can be emotional pain, mental pain, physical abuse, sexual abuse, difficult childhood relationships where we didn't feel safe. And when we don't feel safe within our bodies, we energetically, our soul, parts of our energy leave our body. So that's why we're often not in the body. But coming back into the body is about reconnecting and reclaiming this temple for you, for the goddess, so she can awaken within, because she's lying dormant within you. And then the other part of why we're disconnected from the body is we have this masculine-led yang culture. So it's more about the logic and the mind. And so it takes work to come out of that, to come out of the mind and come into the goddess, come into the body. And that's why there's this invitation when you want to get into the goddess more to come into the body, because it takes you out of the mind. And if you think about it for a moment in terms of yang energy, on energy, that outward focus, that masculine doing, if you think about a car, for example, if a car runs and runs in the forward motion, always on, always in action, in the masculine, in the yang, it will eventually break. And it's the same for us. We are programmed to be only in the doing masculine energy. So it takes us to step back and say, no, I want to find another way. I want to bring the goddess back into my body, into my heart, and into my soul. Okay, so someone's asked a question. I don't understand the first question. How am I connected to the abundance in my body? Okay, perfect. Let me just, so yeah. So the question was, am I connected to the abundance in your body? So let me give you some clues there. Like if I ask you, what is the abundance in your body? What could that be? It could be the blood, the trillions of cells, the air going around, hundreds of bones, have we got thousands? I'm not sure. Connecting to the abundance within the body and feeling that as an abundant vehicle already. That's what I mean. Am I connected to the abundance within the body? And that could be almost a journaling point. And then it's a kind of follow-up question, I guess, is am I running on lack and scarcity? or am I running in nourishment with my body? So lack and scarcity is things like not feeding yourself enough, not sleeping enough, not nourishing yourself, not taking care of yourself. And then the opposite of that would be, yeah, taking good care of yourself, filling yourself up. How to know it, to feel the abundance. Nice to see you, Samia. Is that what you mean? How to feel it? Yes, perfect. So why don't we just do it quickly now? Let's just close our eyes and breathe all the way down into the body, feeling your sitting bones on the chair, your back touching the chair. And just start by breathing into the scalp on your head. Feeling any sensations you can on the scalp. You might feel warmth, a tingling sensation, really bringing your energy and awareness to your scalp. And then breathing into your scalp, just see if you can notice and feel all of the hair follicles, the strands of hair. Maybe focus on one section above the ear on the left side. And then you could come down into the hair follicle, into that tiny little structure that feeds the hair follicle, brings blood, nourishment. And then think about all of them just in your hair follicle. And then you could bring that awareness down into your body and feel all the hair follicles on your body. Your arms, face, your legs. And then just taking a deep breath and opening your eyes. So that's the sort of thing I mean, connecting and feeling it. So let me know how that was. That's just one example, but you could go into all the different things. Okay. Yeah. So I was talking about being in yang energy only, and almost this car analogy where if you make it go all the time and you don't stop it or nourish it or give it petrol, it's going to break. And it's really the same thing. It's about us finding a way to be more in the goddess, because running on pure masculine, when you don't feel safe to be in your feminine, creates this disassociation from the body, and it keeps you in your head trying to work things out, and it leads to struggle, as I said, because the mind is involved in survival. And it so coming out of survival means coming into the body and coming into the body wisdom. And coming into the body wisdom is you can tap more into those two power centers within the goddess: the power center of the womb, the creative life force, the power center of the heart, the love, what truly opens your heart. And with those things, you can elevate all different parts of your life. Now, the second part, yes, so someone said it brings awareness, but awareness to the abundance. If you think about how many hair follicles there are, how many blood cells there are, how many cells there are, how many brain cells there are, You can really connect to the abundance within the body. Oh, Gro, thank you for sharing. So 2 years ago, you joined a program to connect to the goddess. You're much less busy now and more filled up. Beautiful to read that. Okay, so the second part, and I'm realizing the time, I've got so much more to say. This is probably going to run on till about 1:30. Is that okay for everyone? If not, you can watch the replay. Let me know in the chat if that's okay, because I do want to say everything here. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so that was the body, the pearl of the wisdom on the body. And now what I want to get onto is activating the goddess within. So, you know, I said at the beginning when I introduced myself that I'm an activator of the divine feminine. And you might have been wondering, what does that truly mean? Like, I know for me, when I received those words in a deeply meditative state, I didn't actually fully know what that meant. And we have a mix of the energies, as I said, the masculine energies and the feminine energies, and we need both. We need the masculine to get things done, to be focused, to bring our creations into the world. And I will say, actually, this is a lot of where the goddess, some people in the goddess movement get lost, as they almost go too far into the feminine and almost reject the masculine, and then they descend into chaos of not producing anything, which is deeply destructive to the heart and soul. This creates like a lost soul feeling. So masculine is great and we love it, but we do live in a world, as I've explained, that has forgone the feminine and has condemned the feminine for being lazy, weak, unproductive. And in that, we have condemned a part of ourselves, our most special, tender, sacred, rich energy, this sweet nectar that is actually powerful, very powerful, because she holds the power to create. So the feminine truly lies dormant in most people. And so I want to share with you now some words that came to me when I was in the Dendera temple, which is dedicated to Hathor. And those that have followed me for a while know that Hathor is one of my true goddesses that I have really been working with a long time. And I want to share this with you because it's really talking about this activation of the goddess spirit. What does that mean and how do we do that? So just to talk about the Dendera temple, it was actually built by the Greeks. They rebuilt it because it was pulled down, but you can see the pillars below the foundation. Like when you go into that temple complex on the left side, there's this hole in the floor and you can see the pillar, the top of the pillar that goes down. And I sat there in meditation, and this is the words, a few words that I'm going to share with you that came through. Still in the deep I await for those who weep to hear my song. Only those of a pure heart and strong enough to withhold the creation I foretold. Unwind your mind and unite with mine to become the great mystery of all time. That came from Hathor. She was lying in that deepness, waiting for those that long to hear her song to come and unite with her. And this is really what your inner goddess is singing to you. And a lot of people that work with me come and work with me because they feel this intuitive pull and they don't really know why. But it's this. This is the invitation to let go of your mind, your way of knowing the world, and awaken her inside of you. She's lying, awaiting for your call. And the journey to her, as I said, is through the body, through the heart, through the womb, to release the mind and all of the conditioning that has you bound up in a world of doing and action, and activating her power in union with the masculine. Because that's one thing I've really brought in with my work. As I said, some of the goddess work has forgone the masculine, like gone the other way, but the true divine feminine is about a union of the two. I mean, I could go on a whole few hours about this, but the feminine, the divine feminine, loves the masculine. He is her beloved. Like, she cannot wait to unite in with him. And so I'm saying that because that is the way that I like to work. Oh, yes, you emailed me. It was an intuitive pull, exactly. And that most people don't know why they're near me. They're like, something, what? I don't know what it is. It's not me. It's your goddess saying through you and me, let's awaken. And so when you activate her power in devotion to the masculine, I must say, my love for the masculine has grown immensely over the last year, and the pinnacle was in Egypt. I'm right now had such a divine relationship actually with the god Amun. It's incredible. Like, I've got his statue up there. I can't stop looking at him. He's just so beautiful. And I've been dreaming with him, working with him. So I'm just sharing that because if you do work with me at any point, know that I'm going to be bringing in that divine masculine so that you actually create things in your life, that you realize things, whether that's wealth, your business, your legacy, where you want to go. And it's not just about feeling yummy in your body. It's really about bringing in that divine masculine. I really feel him here right now. It's lovely, so gorgeous, so good to have like a God with you who totally loves you and adores you and wants to give to you and wants to manifest with you. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. Actually, that's going to be what I'm sharing later on. Okay, but when you activate this divine feminine within, she activates your intuitive power on a much, much deeper level than you've ever had before, because she is this divine mother, this womb of creation. And as the womb of creation, she knows all, she feels all, she sees all. And so when you tap into her, you're tapping into this great wisdom, this living library. And through that, you're able to pull through your thread of wisdom, your guidance for your life. And in that, you can't put a foot wrong. And not only that, it gives you so much oozing confidence, because it's a deep, like, inner knowing that, like, the universe has your back. That's Gabby Bernstein, isn't it? That's a great saying. But when you feel that and you know that in your body, oh my God, that feels really good. That is like, wow, like, I can't do anything wrong. When I'm connected to this intuitive power within, like, everything is going to be revealed for me. I don't have to worry about anything. I can just drop that survival. She also activates the power of love, this great outpouring of love from an endless cup, and your life becomes more and more driven by love for life, for your work, for your loved ones, and for what you desire. She really is a real key to this divine love. And then the third part that she brings is this power of creation. The Shakti, the life force energy, has actually largely been shamed and shut down. And in the goddess mystery schools, they were taught how to cultivate the Shakti, how to raise the Shakti. And what that does is cultivate your ability to create more, your ability to create miracles. And so that's what happens when you really activate the goddess. And then the third main thing is the power of magnetism, of receiving, of allowing yourself to receive, of allowing yourself to be penetrated by life, to be, instead of controlling, I need it this way and that way and this way, but allowing yourself to receive, like you is the chalice, the holder of your light. This kind of, I see us as like a sacred chalice that's been messed up, broken, shattered down. And almost my work is to rebuild this chalice so that you are the holder of your light, your inner light, and in that, the holder of wealth, the holder of all. And that's what the feminine is. She's this, if you look at Hathor and Isis, they have these horns, they look like cow horns, and then they have the sun. I've got something up there. Let me get it quickly. So this is a statue of Hathor, okay? So she's got these horns here, and then this. This is a symbol of being the holder of all of creation. Actually, this is the sun, the holder of the sun. And so the rebuilding and activating of the feminine is rebuilding this, being able to be the chalice of your light, because at the moment it's diffracted, shattered, and moved about. And then the holder of wealth, the holder of more, the holder of health and sacred relationships, everything. That's what that symbol is. And then in that, you're able to remember yourself, as I said, as the consort to God. In our patriarchal world, we really think as God as masculine, and masculine alone. Like, even if I asked you to close your eyes and say God, it's going to feel masculine, authoritative. Can't say that word, you know what I mean. But the goddess is equal to God, okay? And in fact, if I say goddess to you, you might think someone like is sexy and powerful. But she's not just sexy and powerful, okay? She's equal to God. And that is how we need to elevate her in our mind, in our energy, in our consciousness. Because when we elevate ourselves to the consort of God as goddess, we become all powerful. And, this can bring a lot of comfort, because when you elevate yourself, not as the ego, like I'm better than anyone else, but your heart, your soul then remembers you as God, goddess, and with that, all of your life elevates. And your life becomes fun, because the goddess is this joyful, laughing energy that creates because she desires to, that creates because she can, because it's fun to. And that fun energy comes in through your creations. And then with this as the consort of God, it means in your manifestations that you're not doing it all alone. There's this manifestation myth that I can kind of do it alone, call things in. But as above, so below, it takes the masculine and feminine to create, just like a baby. And so there's this manifestation with the God, goddess energy is you're asking God, as goddess, to provide for you, to support you, to nourish you. And he can't resist that, basically, because you're the goddess. So when you step into goddess and you ask God to do that, there's no question, it just is. In relationship, this is also important as well, a really important thing to talk about, because I see in Tantra and the goddess world, again, a lot of misinformation that we need to submit to our man in relationships. And it's not that. It's not a stepping down, it's a stepping aside, so that you step together as equal, opposite mirrors of the same thing that come into union to create. Just like in that temple in Karnak in Egypt, we have Amun and Amunet. They're in sacred relationship. They are the same. They are on the same level. So here's some questions to think about, and then I'm going to answer your questions. So question 1, are you a clear chalice? Do you feel like you're a container for wealth? Are you able to hold wealth? That's the first question. Then the second one is, do you love wealth? What is your relationship like to wealth? in your relationships. How does your relationship feel? What is the balance there? If you're in relationship, is it equal? Is one above the other? Is one in control? Might be you. What does that feel like? Do you allow yourself to receive in your relationship? And then in regard to health, as a womb practitioner, I have to, if people come and work with me, I always ask them about their womb health. Like, what is your womb health like? What is your cycle like? How is that health? It might show up in imbalance or not. How do you process your energy and emotions? It's really important as feminine, as goddess. And do you use your sensual energy to heal? I haven't really talked about that, but sensual energy, feminine energy, heals the body enormously. Okay, I've got a question here. Can you spell the name of that symbol? Was that this symbol? So she's the goddess Hathor. Type that right, and it is the symbol. Well, it's known as the cow horns, but it's not cow horns at all, and it gets confused. And some say that that's the moon. It's not. It's the sun. She's the holder of all of creation, of the divine masculine. Okay, so let me know if there's any more questions. I want to take you into a journey now. I want to take you into a journey to have an experience of the goddess, and then I've got a few more things to share with you. Drink of water. Okay. So let's go on this journey together then. Closing your eyes. And just, okay, Eva, no problem. Come and watch the replay. It's going to be good, this journey. Everyone else, closing your eyes. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And almost you're just calling on your energy now to come into your body. Threads of your energy. It might be out with other people, with work, situations, phone, emails. You're just calling and gathering all of your energy into your body now. And just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Start to feel your breath coming in up through your nostrils. Feel this breath like a liquid light. Breathing this liquid light up through your nostrils and allowing this liquid light to come all the way up and into your brain. This liquid light, it's a nourishing light, an activating light. Breathing this light into your brain now as it spirals around your brain. Awakening and activating the pineal gland in the center of your brain, your center of I see, your intuition. And then with that, this light just comes down from your pineal gland, down past your throat and into your heart. Just breathing deeply into the heart now. allowing the light to fill up the heart, to awaken the heart. Just allow the light now to come right at the base of the heart. It's going to start coming down from the heart, all the way down now, down through the solar plexus, enlightening the solar plexus, down past the stomach, past the navel, the belly button, all the way down your midline, until this light starts to illuminate your womb. It's like a sacred chalice bowl of light. You're allowing this light to pour in and fill up the chalice. And as it does that, starting to knit and weave the cup of the chalice back together. There might have been holes, dents, areas of darkness and discomfort, but this sacred light is just knitting and weaving the walls of the chalice back together, spiraling around, weaving these great threads of light and just restoring the cup. And you're being invited down now. Down into your womb. Standing inside the chalice. Noticing the walls of the chalice, this gold, the metals, jewels, the preciousness, or however it's appearing to you. This great bowl of light. And from the middle of the chalice now, a fountain appears. Beautiful crystal light. You walk over to the fountain. And out of the fountain steps your inner goddess, the one who is connected to the original source, the one who holds your innate wisdom, the one who holds your divine feminine blueprint. She's going to gift you a map. Map that is unique to you, to your soul's purpose. And then a key that is yours to use if you wish, and you must choose to use it. That will begin the process of unlocking her powers inside of you. receiving these gifts now. Giving thanks. Knowing that you can come back at any point. You start to breathe now back into the physical womb, back into the physical edges of your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, coming back into the room. And you can let me know in the comments how that was for you, if you have any questions. I always think it's very important to experience something in the experiential rather than just talking about it. Fabulous. Seen a symbol. So you can let me know if you have any questions, comments on the journey that we did then, that short journey, or anything else that I shared in the presentation. I'm going to give you a few moments just to ask any questions. And I can answer them. I haven't done a masterclass for ages, so I must say I've absolutely loved doing this, and I hope you've enjoyed just some of these goddess secrets that I shared with you, namely that the key is within you, that you hold the power of unlimited creativity, and that there is a sleeping goddess ready to awaken to guide you, and who also wishes to work with your masculine. So it is done. So thank you. I'll make sure I answer the questions. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, if you are excited and fired up about what the goddess can offer you when you awaken her in you, then I'd love to invite you on a journey to work with me. Right now, I'm working with people privately to create a highly personalized experience to upgrade your entire frequency, bringing the goddess in more and more to help realize the greatest mission on earth. This is a initiatory journey that takes you into the frequency of the feminine. So remember how I've said it's a frequency, it's an energy, it's a way of being and an undoing of the mind. One that is fully embodied in your mission and your vision for the world, that is able to express and touch the hearts of those that need to hear your voice the most, because everyone that works with me, they have a deep, beautiful mission. And sometimes our vision of that can be great, but our realization of that isn't so great. And so I want to help women really realize that great mission, that great vision that they have, whilst not doing personal sacrifice, not letting go of the family or the relationship that they really desire, or their own personal energy, their need for solace, for beautiful moments. And so this is what I'm offering. It's not a strategy coaching program. It's about upgrading your entire frequency so that you are rebirthed into your next becoming, because that is what the great womb of the mother does. She births you and rebirths you, so that you're almost not thinking and strategizing your next move, but you're becoming the frequency that that mission holds, and in that becoming, all is realized. So we're almost used to this patriarchal order where logic, reason, plans, structure have led the way without the sacred why that the feminine brings. And so this is what I help women do, to rebirth their soul and call in their unique wisdom, that the goddess brings. And what that helps women do is become a more impactful leader, because you have this wisdom that is for you. Like when I've had these connections with Amun, with Hathor, with Isis, the wisdom they give to me is for my soul, for me to share. It's my part of the jigsaw puzzle of the world that I'm sharing, and you will have yours. So connecting to this goddess energy helps you do that. It also helps bring in more wealth. I've had helped quite a few clients now double or triple their income. One client doubled her income within a year, and that was to the tune of millions. Um, and have also, with her in particular, have more fun in her life, more luxury travel, more time with kids, better physical health, because that's what the feminine brings. It's this love and lust for life, for all of life, for relationship, for impact, for change. And so typically the type of client that works for me has this big mission and vision. It isn't fully realized yet. And some of my clients, like, they have amazing businesses, but they know that there is so much more. And they want to realize that without it costing them what the masculine does, which is doing more, creating more. It enables them to do it from this frequency of the feminine, of receiving more, of activating more. Typically, my clients, want to have beautiful, loving relationships, quality time with family, and maybe that hasn't been something that's been there, so that they've had difficult relationships, so they want to work on that. And I'm thinking about the other types of clients. The clients that know that they have some sort of sacredness within them, but it isn't fully realized, and they do have a traumatic, well, it might not be traumatic, but a difficult childhood that made it very difficult to be in safety and in security, which pushed them a lot into survival. So I help clients undo and unravel that in a very beautiful, healing, natural way, so that this sparkling gem within is able to fully shine and to fully be realized. I do this in a number of ways. My work is a mix of very practical mentoring of what needs to be done in your world, in your life, what needs to change, and energetic upgrades, because they both work so, so beautifully together. You know, with my personal journey, it took me years to integrate the wisdom that came through with my experience of the goddess. But now I help clients do that, but in a lot less time, because I was kind of grasping a little bit in the dark. Yes, so if you feel called to the goddess and you want to find out more about working with me, I'm going to invite you to book a call. Let me see if I can find a link somewhere. I'll put it in the chat, and then please just book a call with me. I only work with 4 clients at a time because I like to be really super hands-on. I do have different programs as well, like self-study, but if you really want this fully activated within you, this goddess energy, then I think working privately is such a good way, because it gets highly curated and personalized to you. And that's why women work with me. I have a proven track record. I've walked this path with myself and many others, and I'm here to shine a new way to help you upgrade your frequency, which really changes everything. So if you're ready to receive more without doing more, and for a full, rich life on all levels, then reach out to me for a call. I'm going to just check any comments and questions, and maybe you have other comments and questions, so please put them in the chat. Beautiful. So you have the key, you have the symbol of the goddess. My favorite book about Hathor, there isn't one. I wish there was. Honestly, people ask me all the time about books. There's no good book about Hathor. All the things that I've had have come through direct mystical experience. I'm looking at my bookshelf. I'm going to write a book. I think I'm going to write it this year. I'm going to start, but I can't recommend a book on Hathor. You can look on Amazon. There are some books there about her, but there's enough. Maybe the Hathor Material by Tom Kenyon, but it doesn't, it's talking about the Hathor as consciousness. It's quite interesting, that one, but it's not about Hathor as the goddess. When is the best time to use the map? Hi Sam. The best time to use the map is, well, allow the map to be absorbed into you, into your consciousness, into your frequency, and it will unveil itself. God, she's also your goddess ally, Hathor. Beautiful. I saw Sekhmet but heard Akate. Beautiful. I love the cat people, goddesses. Yeah, there's something about those cats, isn't there? It was beautiful meeting with my inner goddess. Good. Thank you, Gro. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me live. I absolutely love doing this masterclass. You can also reach out to me via Facebook or whatever if you want to book a call, or I put the link there somewhere. So thanks so much for joining and sending you lots of love. Bye bye.